Welcome back, dear viewers. And if you're new here, buckle up. Things are about to get weird. You're in for a ride filled with sharp claws, sharper opinions, and absolutely no tolerance for nonsense. I'm Crabby Tabby, the fearless feline behind the Crabby Tabby report, and this is my mediocre witch, Mildred. We reside in the mystical boreal forests of northern Canada, where I deliver the hard-hitting meows on news, views, and a zero tolerance for stupidity. From global affairs to the ridiculousness of the day, I serve up my unfiltered feline takes. Because someone has to, and Mildred's too busy brewing tea. Now, be a good human. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Because let's face it, catnip ain't cheap. Today's litterbox stinker? Donald Trump's latest diplomatic dumpster fire in Saudi Arabia, his delusional Napoleon complex, and his outright disdain for Ukraine's fight for survival. Grab your clothespins, folks. This one reeks. The Saudi Arabian spectacle. War talks without Ukraine? Seriously? Imagine you're throwing a surprise birthday party. But for yourself. That's essentially what Trump, the self-declared master of diplomacy, just did in Saudi Arabia, hosting so-called peace talks about the Ukraine war without. Wait for it. Ukraine. Yes, while Ukraine's soldiers fight tooth and claw against Russia's ongoing invasion, Trump's team waltzed into Riyadh alongside Russian officials, acting like the world's biggest deal-maker, while conveniently excluding Volodymyr Zelensky, the actual president of the country being invaded. Can we take a moment to appreciate the sheer arrogance of this? Imagine Churchill and Roosevelt negotiating the end of World War II without Stalin, or Reagan discussing the Berlin Wall's future without Germany. The logic is non-existent, much like Trump's sense of reality. And what's Trump's big takeaway from these backdoor dealings? Oh, he'd love to end the war by telling Ukraine to give up territory, give Putin what he wants, let democracy take a back seat, and watch Eastern Europe burn. That's the great Trump peace plan, folks. Trump calls Zelensky a dictator. The irony is ripe now. Let's get to the part where Trump, a man whose legal problems multiply faster than a feral cat colony, had the gall to call Zelensky a dictator. This is the same Zelensky who has led his country through relentless Russian assaults, who has stood by his people despite overwhelming odds, and who has spent the last 2 years fighting for democracy while Trump played golf and plotted his next grift. For Trump to throw around the word dictator is like a skunk calling a rose, too fragrant. Let's break this down, shall we? Zelensky, fighting for his country's survival while democratically elected by his people. Trump, attempted a coup, claimed an election he lost was stolen, and is currently threatening the U.S. justice system with his retribution campaign. And yet, he calls Zelensky the dictator? Excuse me while I gag. Napoleon Trump, the self-proclaimed Emperor of America. As if his historical ignorance weren't already suffocating enough, Trump recently tweeted a quote attributed to Napoleon Bonaparte. "He who saves his country violates no law," or something to that effect. First off, let's put aside the fact that historians dispute whether Napoleon ever even said that. Let's focus on what Trump meant by it. This is a man who genuinely believes he's above the law. Indicted 4 times? Witch hunt. Found liable for sexual abuse? Rigged court. Caught hoarding classified documents like a dragon on a gold hoard. Presidential immunity. At this point, he's one powdered wig away from declaring himself Emperor of Mar-a-Lago. This isn't just political theater. It's dangerous. He's openly fantasizing about a world where the rule of law does not apply to him. And if 2020 taught us anything, it's that when Trump dreams of unchecked power, His cult of followers is more than happy to try and make it happen. The real dictator loves this chaos. Meanwhile, the actual dictator in this story, Vladimir Putin, is laughing his ex-KGB rear end off. He knows that Trump's return to power would be his biggest geopolitical victory yet. Ukraine loses U.S. support? Check. NATO thrown into chaos? Check. The U.S. government too busy dealing with Trump's legal nightmares to function? Double check. If Trump's Saudi stunt tells us anything, it's that he's more than happy to sell Ukraine down the river if it means he gets to play deal maker for the cameras. The Crabby Tabby's final swipe. Time to wake up? Look, I get it. Politics is exhausting. But exhaustion is exactly what Trump and his enablers are counting on. They want you too worn out, too frustrated, and too disillusioned to care. Don't give them that satisfaction. Ukraine needs our support now more than ever. Democracy is under attack, both abroad and at home. And unless Congress suddenly develops a backbone, unlikely, but we can dream. It's up to the people to push back against Trump's authoritarian fantasies. So, stay loud, stay engaged, and for the love of all things good, don't let history repeat itself. This has been the Crabby Tabby Report, where the only thing we tolerate less than stupidity is tyranny. And that, dear peasants, wraps up another hard-hitting edition of the Crabby Tabby Report, where the truth has claws and stupidity gets swatted. If you made it this far, congratulations. Your attention span is longer than a goldfish's. Now do the right thing. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Because let's be real, catnip ain't cheap, and neither is my patience. Until next time, stay sharp, stay sane, and don't make me come after you.